I'm going to get us started. So, for today's class, I suggest having available two blocks and a blanket if you like to use those props for your practice. I like to use the blanket to give myself a little extra cushioning, especially on my knees. And then the blocks help lift the floor up to meet my body where it is in any given posture. So, if you don't have blocks available, books, soup cans, anything that will serve the same purpose is always helpful. And with all of that said, let's get started in a seated position. So, finding a comfortable seated position for yourself. If you're feeling really tight through the hips, it can be nice to prop the hips up with a blanket or a block. Kind of give yourself a little bench here. So, just a couple of options there. And let's begin by drawing the spine up long, floating the heart over the sacrum and the head over the heart. Beginning to connect with the body, connect with the breath as we enter this space and enter our practice. Breathing deeply in and letting that breath go. And then one more time, breathing deeply in. And as you let this breath go, softening somewhere in the body and the heart. And then as you allow your breath to return to its natural rhythm, let's do a quick body scan just to check in with where we are today. Bringing attention to the top of the head. Can you soften the scalp? Relax the brow and the temples. Soften the jaw. Soften the root of the tongue. Relax the shoulders down and away from the ears. Soften the heart center. Relax the belly. Relax the glutes. Soften the hands. And soften the feet. And then bringing awareness to the points of contact between your body and the mat. Feeling the heaviness of your body right here, right now. Feeling the grounding of this posture and noticing whether it's possible to feel yourself fully supported right here in this moment on the mat. The earth holding you up. And as you sit in this comfortable seated posture, let's begin to connect with the breath, observing the body as the breath flows in and as it flows out. And then beginning to deepen the breath, sending the breath deep into the belly. Sometimes it can help to place a hand on the belly just to get that tactile experience of the belly breathing. Breathing deeply into the belly and letting the breath go, letting the belly relax. Taking just a moment here to be connected with your breath, with this flow of vital life force energy into your body, with this natural process that keeps us so alive. And just a note that today's class is intended to be on the gentler side. So if at any point during today's practice you begin to feel physically or emotionally overwhelmed or you feel pain, please back out of whatever posture we're currently practicing and either take, just back out of the posture, reconnect with the breath, or perhaps return to a safe, comfortable position like this one here. Respecting your body, respecting your experience, your practice. And then taking one more deep breath in here and letting it go. And if they are not already, blinking the eyes open. and we will begin our physical practice here. So let's just begin by getting a little movement through our joints, awakening the spine. We'll begin with the neck, dropping the chin to the chest, and then taking some gentle half circles as we draw a half circle with the nose, bringing left ear to left shoulder, then dropping the chin toward the chest and bringing right ear to right shoulder. Moving through this gentle range of motion with the neck a few times. Noticing how the body is feeling here today. If there are a lot of physical sensations present for you this morning, offering that presence, that loving kindness to the body, and taking the version of our postures that feel right for you throughout today's class. And let's release the half circles and then drop right ear to the right shoulder, finding some opening in that outer neck. Now, once you're here, you might like to outstretch the left hands to find some additional opening in that side of the neck. You might also like to take a few gentle turns of the head here, noticing how the neck feels through this range of motion. And then releasing that and bringing left ear to left shoulder, feeling the sensation in the outer neck here, and then choosing your version of this posture, perhaps outstretching those right fingertips, feeling the opening through that entire side of the neck and the shoulder. You might take a few of those gentle neck circles here, finding some range of motion, just noticing how the neck is feeling today. And then releasing that. And we'll move into some gentle shoulder rolls here. So bringing the shoulders up towards the ears and then back and together as if the shoulder blades could touch before coming forward and up and back again. Getting some movement in those shoulder joints. Noticing how the shoulders, the upper back feel today. And then when you're ready, we'll reverse directions and take our shoulder rolls the other way. Nice. And beginning to slow those down, releasing the shoulder circles when you're ready. And let's inhale the arms up to the sky, look up, draw the spine long, and then as we exhale, cactus the arms, drawing the elbows toward the ribs and opening the heart to the sky. And then inhaling the arms up to the sky. And now let's drop right hand to the mat and sweep left arm up and over. Left hip remains heavy. Looking up toward the elbow if that feels good for the neck. If not, taking any positioning with the neck that feels right for you today. Breathing into the side body, into the ribs, into those intercostal muscles that tend to get quite sticky. Feeling the lungs expand beneath the ribs here and contract on the exhale. And then inhaling back through center, growing long through the spine, and exhaling, bringing that left hand to the mat, sweeping right arm up and over, right hip remains heavy on the mat, and then finding the right positioning for your neck here. That might be looking up at the elbow or toward the sky, might be looking down, experimenting with what feels right for you today. As you breathe into that right side body, opening up through the ribs, the intercostals, and then inhaling back to center and dropping hands to the knees for just a moment. Breathing, reconnecting with the breath, reconnecting with the body, and noticing how the body feels here in this posture. Noticing any areas of the body that are calling for your attention, stiffness, soreness, stickiness, simply noticing. And we'll now take the left hand to the outside of the right knee, and then we can bring the right hand either to the hip or behind us on the mat to offer some support for the spine. As we inhale the spine up long, and then exhale and gently peek over that right shoulder. Coming to our first twist of today's practice, and keeping it pretty gentle here. So using the strength of the core and the mobility in the spine to initiate this twist, rather than cranking the spine with the strength of the arms. Drawing the spine long on the inhale and deepening the twist from the core on the exhale. And unwinding, coming back through center. Drawing the spine up long here. And then bringing right hand to the outside of the left knee. Again, bringing that left hand either to the hip or to the mat behind us. And then as we inhale, we'll draw the spine long. And as we exhale, let's turn and peek over that left shoulder this time. Inhaling the spine long and exhaling, deepening the twist from the core, from the spine itself. And exhaling back to center. Nice. All right, from here, let's move to bring the soles of our feet together for seated bound angle. The heels can be as close to the pelvis or as far away as feels comfortable for you. And we're making this diamond shape with our legs here. If you find that your knees are quite far away from the mat and it's feeling uncomfortable or quite tight in the hips, this is a really nice place to prop with a couple of blocks. And that can help the muscles relax and your nervous system relax a little bit into this posture, rather than feeling some tension about having to hold the knees in the middle of the air. So wherever you are, let's draw the spine up long. And then if you would like to, you can either place hands behind you on the mat and open the heart, open the chest toward the sky. Or if you would like to bring this into a bit of a forward fold, we can bring hands to the ankles or to the feet and then gently begin to hinge forward from the hips here. Thinking about bringing the heart toward the toes to keep our spine long in this posture. And wherever you are, whatever version of the posture is right for your body today, taking a moment to reconnect with the breath here. Directing the breath toward any areas of the body that are feeling particularly tight or tense. And noticing whether it's possible to soften anywhere on the exhale. It may not be, and that's okay. And let's back out of this posture. If you've propped, we'll remove those props from underneath the knees and extend the legs forward long in front of us. Flexing the toes back towards the face and engaging the quads, drawing the spine up long for a nice staff pose. For this posture, I actually really like to bring blocks to the sides of my hips and use those blocks to lift the floor up to me as I assist my spine in growing quite long here, finding some traction with the spine. And then if you would like to turn this into a forward fold, we can begin to walk the hands forward toward the calves, the shins, the ankles, perhaps to the feet. And again, thinking about hinging forward from the hips as we keep the spine long and opening up through the back line of the body here a bit. And once you've reached your full expression of the forward fold, if you would like to release the head and Maybe nod the head yes, nod the head no. Please feel free to find that mobility in the neck here. And let's release that and roll up to a seated position once again. From here, I'm going to move my blocks out of the way and bring my legs into a straddle position for this wide-legged forward fold that we'll move into here in a moment. We'll begin by drawing the spine up long with the legs spread wide. If your hamstrings are quite tight, this is a really nice place, again, to bring blocks underneath the knees or just bend the knees to provide some relief to those tight hamstrings. And once we're here, the invitation is to begin to walk the hands forward, again, hinging forward at the hips. Let's keep those feet awake and alive as we find our way into a wide-legged forward fold here, opening up through the hips, through the adductors, and the back line of the body. Reconnecting with the breath, observing the sensations in the body. Perhaps you might begin to notice how the sensations in the body morph and change over time simply by becoming present and observing them. And let's walk the hands back in, drawing the spine up along here. And from here, let's bend the left knee, bringing the sole of the foot to or towards the inner right thigh. And we'll orient our chest toward the right toes here. So really turning the torso to face the right leg. And from here, you might feel the opening in your hip already. This might be quite enough for you. Or you might like to begin to walk the fingers forward into this head to knee pose here. So hands can come on blocks beside the leg. Hands might come to the shin or to the foot. So wherever you are, finding your expression of this posture. And once you're there, reconnecting with the breath. And now let's back out halfway from this posture and extend the right arm to or towards the right toes. So right hand might be on the shin, or you might wrap your fingers around that toe. And this time we'll inhale and sweep the left arm up and over as if we could grasp the right toes with our left fingertips for revolved head to knee, opening up through the side line of the body here on the left side, allowing the left hip to remain heavy and reconnecting with the breath. Is there anywhere you can soften on the exhale? And inhaling back up to a seated or an erect position. And once again, we'll orient the chest toward the toes and walk forward into that head to knee posture for just a moment, releasing the work of the side body. And let's inhale back up to our seat. Bringing the left hand now, planting the left hand on the mat next to your left hip. And we'll begin to press the hips up, extending through the right toes and sweeping the right arm up and over for this variation of gate posture or rock star, however you like to think of it, opening up through the right side body, through the right hip this time. Nice, and we'll release that. And for just a moment, we can extend the legs long in front of us, maybe shake them out a little bit, and then we'll take that on the second side. So extending the legs wide, and then bending the right knee, bringing the sole of the right foot into or towards the left inner thigh, turning to orient our chest toward the left toes, and then walking forward into our head to knee pose here. Choosing your variation, your hand position, your depth, and noticing, is this side different from the first side? So often, each side is different from the other, so allowing this to be a new experience and meeting this side of your body right where it is. Breathing into the posture, breathing into sensation, and then coming up halfway, extending left arm to or towards the toes, and sweeping right arm up and over for revolved head to knee, turning to look up over the right elbow, right shoulder, if that works for your neck here. Right hip is heavy, and we're breathing into that right side body, opening up through the side body once again. And inhaling up, and we'll turn to face the chest once more. For a moment, come back into our head to knee posture. And then coming back up to a long spine, bringing right hand, planting the right hand on the mat on the outside of the right hip, and then pressing the hips up, sweeping left arm up and over for this rock star variation of gate posture, opening up through the left side body, the left hip once more. And we can release that. And we will briefly move into a little twist here. So let's start by extending both legs in front of us. Bend the left knee and plant that left foot flat on the floor in front of you. And then pick the left foot up and place it outside of the right thigh. Using the hands around the knee, let's draw that spine up quite long, and then extend the right arm and wrap it around the outside of that left knee as we begin to gently twist to look over the left shoulder, and you might bring that left hand to support you behind you on the mat here. Breathing into the twist, drawing the spine long on the inhale and deepening on the exhale. And releasing that posture. Feet go long in front of us again. And then we'll take that on the second side, bending the right knee, planting the right foot flat on the floor, and then stepping that right foot outside of the left thigh. Using the hands on the knee to draw the spine up long, extending left arm and wrapping that left arm around the right knee as we begin to twist, looking over the right shoulder, and place that right hand on the mat behind us to provide some additional support. Inhaling the spine long and exhaling to deepen the twist. And releasing that. Very nice. Just extending the feet in front of us for a moment, wiggling the legs, shaking it out, and we will meet one another in a tabletop position. So taking your time to orient to this new position, I'm going to use my blanket here to cushion my knees. And I invite you to do the same. If you have tender knees, you can also double the mat up to provide some additional cushioning, if that would be helpful. And if you're working with blocks today, I recommend having those in easy reach, because we'll grab them in just a couple of minutes. So finding ourselves in a tabletop position, hands underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. You may tuck or untuck your toes. It's really a matter of preference and comfort here. And wherever you are, finding length in the spine, drawing the top of the head away from the tail, and toning the belly, drawing the navel toward the spine to provide support for the back. Really engaging through that core here. And from here, we'll move through a few cat-cow. So, to begin, inhaling, dropping the belly, tipping the hips up toward the sky, looking up, opening the heart forward. And then exhaling, tucking the tail, tucking the chin, arching up through the spine, really doming up between the shoulder blades. Inhaling, dropping the belly for cow. And exhaling into cat. Once again, inhaling through cow. And exhaling to cat. And from here, coming back to a neutral spine into table. And then let's bring our knees wide, toes come to or towards touching, and set our hips back for a little child's pose here. Walking the hands forward, bringing the forehead to or towards the mat. If you're finding that there's a lot of space between your heels and your bottom, you can always bring a block or a blanket in between that space to provide a little additional support. Maybe wiggling the hips from side to side here. And reconnecting with the breath. Reconnecting with the body in this orientation. Noticing anything that's changed or shifted for you in the body. Noticing what the body is asking for here. And from here, let's roll up into a seated position. Bring the knees back together. Tuck the toes underneath us. And if it's possible to get our little pinky toes involved, that is ideal here. As we slowly sit our hips back to or towards the heels into toes pose, which I know can be a little bit on the intense side. So only coming as far back as feels good for your body. And we'll only be here for a couple of breaths as we open up through the bottoms of the feet, those plantar fascia. Alrighty, and let's come back forward into a tabletop position. Maybe tap, tap, tap those feet on the mat to work it out. And from here, we will just find our way back to table. So widening the knees once more. And now let's step the left foot forward between the hands and just bend and straighten that front knee a couple of times to lubricate through the knee joint and awaken the hips, the knee. And from here, we'll come up into a low lunge. So hands might be on blocks, hands might be on the front thigh, wherever you are. Drawing the spine long, letting the hips be heavy as we open up through the front of the right hip here. And then bringing both hands to frame the foot once again. And then inhaling, left arm up to the sky for a little twist here. Nice. Releasing the twist. And heel toeing the foot to the outside of the mat, finding a sort of 45-degree angle with the foot here. Bringing hands to the inside of the foot, and then letting the knee fall open here for lizard pose. If you need a little additional opening, you can always bring that left hand to the left knee and begin to twist into it a little bit. Nice. And we'll return to our tabletop position for just a moment. And then step the right toes forward, right foot forward between the hands. Bend and straighten through that front knee a few times. All right, and then let's settle into our low lunge here. Hands can come to blocks or to the thigh, letting those hips be quite heavy here. Noticing the difference between the first side and the second side. How's it going on this side? Nice. And then planting the hands to frame the foot, and then inhaling, right arm up to the sky, finding a nice little twist here. And releasing the twist. Let's heel toe that right foot out to the edge of the mat, finding that 45-degree angle with the foot, and then letting the right knee fall open here. And if you'd like to get a little additional opening, you can always bring that right hand to the knee and begin to twist into this lizard. Nice. And we'll release that. And from here, let's bring our right foot to in between our thumbs, and then we'll step our left foot up to meet it in a nice forward fold here. So really bending the knees as much as is needed to find a comfortable forward fold, allowing the spine to hang, finding some natural traction here. You might grasp opposite elbows in a ragdoll position, maybe sway side to side. You might bend and straighten your knees to open up through the back line of the body. Really just taking a moment to feel into the low body here and lengthen the spine. And then inhaling, finding a flat back, drawing the top of the head away from the tail, finding length in the spine in your halfway lift, and then exhaling into our forward fold. And then inhaling, rolling up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Bringing the shoulders down and back away from the ears. Moving any props that are on your mat. And finding yourself at the top of the mat in mountain pose, pressing down through all four corners of the feet. Legs are engaged, glutes are engaged, spine is long, chest is proud. Feeling the strength, the solidity of this posture here. And then inhaling, arms up to the sky. Let's come up and over to the left for half moon. Inhaling through center and up and over to the right. And coming back through center, folding forward over the legs. Inhaling, finding that halfway lift, long spine. Exhaling, bringing hands to the mat in a forward fold. Let's step that left foot back so that we're in a low lunge, planting hands on the mat. Step the right foot back to meet it. Drop those knees to the mat and lower down onto the belly. From here, untucking the toes, pressing all 10 toes into the mat, and inhaling using the strength of the back body to lift the chest off of the floor for cobra. Hands are underneath the shoulders. And releasing the cobra, pressing up through table, and then sitting the hips back for a little child's pose here. Coming back through table, tucking the toes, pressing up for plank, and then lifting the hips toward the sky for downward facing dog. Melting the heels toward the mat, pressing all four corners of the hands into the mat, lifting the sacrum toward the sky, biceps frame the ears, Eyes gaze between the heels. You might take a little time to shake the head, loosen up through the spine, maybe take a few knee bends here, awakening through the Achilles tendons and the calves. And then once more pressing into this downward facing dog for a breath. And then stepping the right foot between the hands for low lunge. Pausing here. Stepping right foot forward to meet the left in a forward fold. Inhaling, halfway lift, long spine. Exhaling, forward fold. And then inhaling, rolling up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Bringing the shoulders down and back. Legs are strong. Spine is long. Finding ourselves in this mountain pose once more. And then inhaling, arms up to the sky. Exhaling, folding forward over the thighs. Forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. And this time we'll step the right toes back to our low lunge before bringing the left toes back to meet the right in our plank. From here, we can drop the knees to the mat and lower the belly to the floor, planting the hands under the shoulders, flipping the toes, pressing the tops of the feet into the mat, and inhaling to lift the chest off of the floor using the strength of the spine in our cobra. And exhaling, releasing, tucking the toes, pressing up through table, and then setting the hips back for child's for just a moment, just a breath. Coming forward, lifting the knees off of the floor for plank, and then exhaling, lifting the hips to the sky, downward facing dog, heels melt toward the mat, pressing through the hands, finding length in the spine, lengthen the back body, lengthen the back of the legs. And then bringing the right toes forward between the hands for low lunge. And then stepping left foot forward to meet right in forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, finding a long spine. And exhale, forward fold. And now, as we inhale, we'll sit our hips back and raise the arms for chair pose. So, reaching the arms up to the sky, reaching the chest forward, strong through the legs. And from here, we'll stand up into one-legged mountain, bringing the left foot off of the floor, reaching the arms long above us. And then slowly, gently begin to step those left toes behind you, coming to the ball of the foot for crescent pose. Spine is long, legs are strong, feet are about hip width apart, thinking train tracks and not a tightrope here. As we draw the spine long, and then bring the hands to prayer position in front of us here. You can stay here, or if you would like to bring this into a twist, you'll begin to bring the left elbow to the outside of the right thigh and gently turn to look over the right shoulder. Strong through the legs, connecting with the breath. And from here, we'll come back to crescent, arms reach up, and then pivoting, bringing the left heel to the mat, lunging into the right leg, coming into warrior two. Front fingers reach forward, back fingers reach back, feeling the strength of the legs here. And then flipping the front palm and sweeping that right arm up and back for reverse warrior. Coming back through warrior two. And from here, let's bring hands to the hips. And we're simply going to reorient our pelvis so that we're facing more toward the front of the mat in a warrior one stance. And then inhale the arms up to the sky. And as we exhale, let's bring arms behind us, clasping the hands behind us if it's possible. If not, we can bring hands to the low back. And from here, we'll begin to hinge forward at the hips and bring our torso to the inside of the right leg for humble warrior. And inhaling, coming back up for warrior one. And then exhaling, bringing right hand or right forearm to the right thigh and sweeping that left arm up and over for extended side angle. From here, we'll bring both hands to the long side of the mat in front of us, walking the hands around and finding ourselves in a wide-legged forward fold position. Feet should be parallel or perhaps slightly pigeon-toed here. And folding forward over the thighs. Inhaling halfway. And exhaling, let's plant the left hand under the chest and sweep the right arm up for a nice little twist here. And then coming through center, planting right hand, sweeping left arm up to the sky. And coming back through center. From here, let's turn the toes to point outward and then slowly roll up into star, one vertebra at a time, ending with the spine long, with the arms outstretched, taking up space. Yes. And from here, we'll move back into warrior two. Front toes point toward the front, lunging into that front knee. Front arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. And then we'll pivot on the toes, bringing the hands to the mat on either side of that front foot or two blocks. So now we're in this low lunge position. And from here, we'll inhale right arm up to the sky for a twist. And releasing the twist. Hands come back to the blocks or the mat. And then we'll simply step our left foot up to meet our right in a forward fold. Inhaling, lifting halfway. And exhaling, folding forward over the legs. And then inhaling, we'll find our way to chair once more, sitting the hips back. Weight is in the heels, reaching the arms up, spine is long. And then standing up into one-legged mountain on the left leg, drawing the right foot away from the mat. And then gently stepping that right foot behind us, finding our way into crescent on the second side. So once again, our feet should be about hip width apart here, giving us that stability. Drawing the spine long here, reaching up toward the sky. And then if you would like to turn this into a twist, bringing hands to the heart and beginning to bring the right elbow to the outside of the left thigh here. Releasing the twist, coming back up through, wobbly today, back up through crescent, reaching the arms up to the sky. And then exhaling, pivoting the back heel to the mat and finding your way into warrior two, lunging into the front knee. Left fingertips reach forward, right fingertips reach back, strong in the legs. And then flipping the front palm, sweeping it up and back for reverse warrior. And coming back through warrior two. And then bringing hands to the hips and simply orienting the pelvis toward the front of the mat. You might need to reposition that back foot to give you a little bit of a more open angle here. And then we'll inhale the arms up for warrior one, and then exhale, grasping the hands, perhaps crossing the opposite thumb on top here, or bringing hands to the back of the hips. And wherever you are, we'll begin to fold forward to the inner edge of that left leg for humble warrior. And then inhaling, coming back through warrior one, and then bringing that left forearm to the left thigh and sweeping the right arm up and over for extended side angle. And now from here, we'll begin to turn toward the long edge of our mat once more into our wide-legged forward fold. Feet can be parallel or toes pointed in just a bit as we find our way into wide-legged forward fold, Paschimottanasana. All right, and then if you would like to bring the left hand to the outside of the right ankle and then sweep that right arm up and over. Nice. Twisting it out. And coming through center. And then reaching right hand to left ankle, sweeping arm up and open. And letting that go. Pointing the toes out toward the edges of the mat. And then inhaling, rolling up to star one vertebra at a time, taking up space. Legs are strong, spine is long. And then exhaling, we'll move into warrior two once more. And then pivoting on the ball of the foot, bringing hands to frame that left foot on the floor in a low lunge. And inhaling, sweeping the left arm up to the sky for a nice twist here. And coming back to that low lunge. And from here, we'll simply step the left foot back to meet the right, and then drop knees to the mat. And I'll remove my blocks. You're welcome to do the same. So now we're in this tabletop position. Toes should be tucked behind us. And from here, we'll keep the hips over the knees and begin to walk the hands forward into puppy pose, one of our last heart openers here. So bringing the chest, the forehead, and or the chin toward the mat as we reach forward and feel the opening through the front body and through the back body here. Breathing into sensation. And walking the hands back in. This time, opening the knees wide to the edges of the mat, bringing toes to touch behind you, and sending the hips back for child's. Maybe wiggling the hips back and forth here for just a moment. And then reconnecting with the breath. Noticing the state of the body now. How is the body feeling? Noticing if there have been any shifts for you from the beginning of class until now. Being open to hearing whatever it is your body is asking for today. All right, and from here, we'll press up to a seated position and then make our way onto our backs. So however that process happens for you is absolutely perfect. And once we're on the back, we will draw knees into the chest and then just rock back and forth a couple of times here. And then let's extend the left leg long on the mat, drawing the right knee into or towards the right shoulder. You might like to bring it outside of the belly, outside of the torso, to create a little bit of room for the body there. And then let's bring the left hand to the outside of the right knee and draw that right knee across the body for a twist here. Perhaps extending right arm long beside you, maybe turning to look over that right shoulder. And then drawing the right knee back across the body. From here, let's bend the left knee and place the left foot flat on the floor. And then we'll cross the right ankle over the left knee for figure 4. You might stay here. You might press that right knee open with your right hand, or you might begin to draw that whole shape in toward the body, grasping behind the hamstring or on the shin beneath the knee, just taking care to avoid putting a lot of pressure on the knee joint wherever you are. Breathing into sensation, breathing into the opening of the outer hip. And then releasing that shape. Planting both feet on the mat here. And let's just drop the knees to the left, bring them up and over, drop them to the right, up and over to the left, up and over to the right. And then as we come back through center, we'll draw the knees in toward the chest once more, maybe taking a little rock here, and then extend the right leg long on the mat. Drawing the left knee into or towards the left armpit, maybe bringing it outside the torso, creating a little extra space for the body there. And then let's bring the right hand to the outside of the right knee, outside of the left knee, and draw it across the body for a nice twist. Perhaps extending that left arm beside you, maybe even turning to look over the left shoulder. And then coming back through center, bending the right knee, planting right foot flat on the floor, crossing left knee over left ankle over left knee, and maybe pressing that left knee open with the hand, or perhaps drawing that whole shape in toward the body, grasping behind the hamstring or beneath the knee around the shin. On the second side, breathing into sensation, feeling the opening in the outer hip. And releasing that posture, and releasing the legs long on the mat, releasing the arms long on the mat, finding yourself in our final resting posture, Shavasana here. Allowing the body to get quite heavy on the mat. If it's safe and comfortable for you, allowing the eyes to close. And let's just take a moment here to allow the body, the nervous system, the mind, the heart to integrate all of the work you've done in your practice this morning. Taking a deep breath in, letting the breath go. Feeling the weight of the body on the mat, feeling the weight of the body on the earth holding you up right here, right now. Softening the brow, softening the jaw, softening the heart, relaxing the belly, relaxing the glutes, softening the hands, softening the feet. Is it possible to melt into your mat with each exhale as you let the yoga melt into you? Noticing how the body feels here and now after your practice, and being open to any messages from your sweet body about what it might need today. Hydration, rest. How can you honor those needs? And let's together take a deep breath in and let it go. Begin to awaken through the fingers and the toes, reaching the arms and legs long on the mat, and then turning to your favorite side. Taking just a moment here to savor this transition, this liminal space before we move into the rest of the day. And then pressing up to a seated position. Drawing the spine up long here. Reconnecting with the breath, breathing deeply in and letting it go. Perhaps bringing both hands to the heart, offering your sweet body a prayer of gratitude for carrying you through this practice, and offering yourself a prayer of gratitude for carving out this time for yourself. Thank you so much for joining me for the Pride Month edition of Befriending Our Bodies. I hope to see you again soon. Take care, y'all.